Good morning, everybody, or good day rather, wherever you're located in. Today, we are going to do the Safari Serenade, which is a beautiful picture that I have chosen from one of my travels to Africa, and I have made it into a art format. Hopefully, I think okay. So this is what I'm planning to do today, and I hope you will enjoy doing this with me as well. And let's get started. So I'm going to start with the background. Basically, I have this light sketch here. I'm not going to too much details. There's no point doing all the squares on the giraffe when we'll be painting all over it. So I have kind of figured out what my background would be. We'll start with a bit of lilac, then yellow, then darker brown and orange. And that's the background which I'll do lightly. When we do yellow and lilac, we just need to be careful that it doesn't mix and become muddy. Okay. So let's see how we can go about this. So for lilac, I have this kind of a blue here. It's a cobalt blue hue. I think it should be good. We will see how it goes or change colors later on. Acrylics are forgiven. We can always, kind of go over it later. I have this glass plate here, which is all my previous colors, I think, which I was doing for a face. So you have all these different peachy tones. So I'll just take a bit. I don't need a lot. So I'm going to do a light wash of colors. Okay, I'm using a canvas pad. Sorry for the sound. I'm using a canvas pad this time. So I can't keep adding a lot of. So it's like this. It's the Mate canvas pad. If you want to practice art, it is a good way to, do on a canvas pad. It's like a notepad and you can have your series of books. So I'll take a flat brush that I have. I'm just taking a light wash with water, and this is just the background that we are going to do. So as we see here, it's the top part. I would suggest let's just give a spritz of water just to get the canvas a bit conditioned to absorb the water. So this is a little different from the usual canvas that I use. So it might have a different effect overall. Let's see how it goes, or then I'll redo it with the regular canvas as well. Just going lightly on the top. We should use masking tape to, secure the edges so it becomes clean and not flow into the next page below. I'm just doing some random strokes. Just make sure it's flat in one direction. Yeah, just go up and down like this. Make sure you have, because it's light, I'm adding water. It's a little transparent as you see this color. We can come back if we want to make it dark later on. I think the color is not coming that well on the camera. It is actually not that bright. But anyways, similar to the color I have, I think a bit of magenta would help to make it a little purpley. I'm just taking my magenta. Just take a bit on my brush. I'm going to add it to my tray. Hmm. Somebody asked me when do I find time for painting. It's early in the morning, I would say, before my day gets busy with, the usual. It's not a lot of magenta, but I have to make sure I do it before the canvas dries, or it will leave marks. Just a bit of shade. Now that let's clean the brush and my water. I have some tissue here to wipe the excess water also and the paint. Next, I'm going to start with some bright yellow. Okay, have some yellow here, very nice bright yellow. This is an A4 size canvas, so I think we should be able to cover quickly. I'm just going to take a bit, put on my palette. I don't need a lot. As I said, we are doing very light background wash. So just little soupy, runny. I'll start from the bottom and then reach the top so that my blue doesn't get too. It's okay to go on the giraffe as well. Give it a bit of wash with the yellow. It will pop in as well. I think I should. I'll just color my giraffe also the same, because when you go over it with your next colors, no, it will be nice. Giraffe is anyway. Sometimes you just have change of plans to see how it works. I might need to take a little bit more of yellow as well. Okay, a little bit of more of yellow. Still runny, huh? It's very runny. You can see the water is soaking. So I want to just see if I mix the blue and yellow, it will give me green. So I have to be really careful of how I use this. Yeah, I'm just going to use more of yellow for now, and I'll figure it out how I will mix the blue into the yellow without making it green. It's a little tricky, I would say, when you come to these kind of shades that you want to do. You see it's getting a bit yellow, maybe I'll bring a little bit of magenta and do a crossover somewhere. It might not do exactly as I see in the picture, so I convert my photos into a paintable format. I'm not doing fine art, so it's a basically a impression of what I saw or what I had captured. Okay. What I think I'll do is I can see there are little pops of pink between the yellow and the blue. I think I might bring that rather than adding more blue to the sky. Take a bit of pink, magenta that we have. Make sure your brush is really clean. You don't want some white here. It's already. You think your paint is not dried yet? Just a bit, a tiny bit of pink I have here. Maybe I'll just among cut across the two colors, I would say. Just like a crossover space. And I'll have to just doing small curvy designs on the sky just to give some colors where I'm thinking there is a cross. Okay, so I don't have that big margin when I see a yellow changing to a green. Yeah, just putting some pink in these, adding a bit of white to make it a little opaque, and there you go. Just small curvy lines to give some texture to the sky and not make it look all flat and plain. And come back with a bit of blue again. Maybe I'll add a bit of blue and give some interest to the sky. Sorry, that's a lot of blue that's popped out. Some of these paints are very runny, and you don't need a lot of paint in this picture, so you might end up wasting also. Because it dries out, then you don't have a use for it. So next layer, I'm not taking as much water I would. So I'm just going to make it a bit more nice and thick to give it a nice, I'm just going, flicking my wrist between the paint and the magenta. The canvas is still damp from the spritz that we did. So that was one of the ways in which you can make sure your canvas is good to absorb water. Sorry, the color. So if it is, then you will get some nice flow of shades. Now I'll add some pink. So I'm going to play with my sky with mauve and pink and blue. Give some shades here and there. Maybe on top I'll make it more dark. Give that solid look to an edge. You can always play with the colors of your choice. If you have your own acrylic colors, you can make it sunsetty with um oranges and reds, which is quite the more natural colors you see in the savannah. So this was in Masai Mara, South Africa. We had been there on a safari. Sabi Sands Game Park. So I'm going back with some pink while this is still wet. And so I'll get a nice gradient to see here. I'm just moving my pink and white onto the blue. So see how our background changed from a plain old one color to a nice, going to give some pink more on one side, not all over the place. And slowly I built my yellow curvy lines. Remember that we're not just adding a bit of magenta for the sky. We all mix and match. You don't want plain lines floating across your sky, right? Get a bit of white. Okay, so there's some different colors that are floating on your top part of the sky. And by then, I think the yellow will dry and we'll build some nice tones into the lower half. Add some pink. Give some, I want it to be just plain yellow. Just adding some tones here. Now I'll come back with, we'll do some all yellow and white. You have a very different feel to the sky here. Right, like that. White makes your yellow bit opaque. Yellow otherwise is a bit more transparent in acrylic, so white will make it opaque, and let's go. Let's go and make this a nice fun sky. Liking how it's coming. Hope you're enjoying this piece. If you're doing this with your family or friends, remember to tag us in your final picture. We would love to see how you have made your version of this and how it's come out. You can reach out to me on my page if you're stuck at any point, so I can help you with, trying to. Because the canvas pad, see, it's kind of down, kind of getting a bit rolling up, I would say. The edge, I'm just going a bit carefully, giving some transition, slow movements without too much of paint, so that we have a nice feel of the sky moving between colors. Are you liking the shade? I think with this yellow, with the ring light I have, no, we are not getting that exact colors that I'm seeing on my page, but it's nice, I would say. I'm liking it. Maybe I will, when I post the final picture, you guys will see how the colors have kind of transitioned. And I will add a bit of pink somewhere into the yellow, because we don't want plain yellow skies. Just going with that mix of yellow, pink behind the giraffe, so that you get a nice silhouette once you paint them. Because we do have the outlines, so you don't have to worry about, missing where the giraffe is. I'm just going about here and there with some colors of mix of yellow and more magenta. So that's a nice, interesting background, not just a plain yellow. See now how our sky built from just a plain color with plain three backgrounds, and now we have a nice gradient background. Now we are coming down, because first section is to do the background, and then we come and do the giraffe. Clean your brush nicely. You have a nice soapy water. I keep forgetting my coffee. I'm having my black coffee. Another piece of art I'm seeing quite popular these days is coffee art, where you take different tones of black coffee and you do it with watercolor paper. It's very interesting. Maybe I'll figure out how to do it and share some ideas for you to work at home. So you just need watercolor paper, which kind of it's a different form of paper we use and to absorb. Now going down, we are going to the darker bit, which is like the brown, and then to the orange down. So I have here burnt umber. Burnt umber is a darker brown that we use. So be careful. Not you have burnt sienna and burnt umber. You see here, it's like more like chocolatey coffee kind of brown. Again, I will take a small dab of it, remove excess water. See, I don't need a lot. I'm doing a background wash. See, when you do a background wash, you don't need a lot of paint. You just need a bit and a lot of water. If your paint is closed, you don't want your paint drying up. You get a bit of water to make it a bit runny. Little more, because I'm doing a background and I want it to blend, right? So this is a bit dark. It might cover part of your outline. So let's go a bit carefully. You can always look at the reference picture. Oh, okay, some paint is coming up. Reference picture, and if you see, I'm using the line side of the flat brush to go near the outlines. It's okay. And if you go here and there, it's not a big deal. We are just blocking out the spaces now. Once that dries, we can add some interesting shades. So we know where the brown starts and ends, where the giraffe is, not to go inside the giraffe. And we are doing this real time, okay? That's why you have my commentary also along. So, this is a pace at which I go. And you have the recording, so you can always pause it at any point and go through that again. The sun background bush. We're just making it all brown for now. And then we come down with yellow and orange. It's an interesting take of the Sabi Sands Game Park in South Africa. Whenever you go to these game parks, sighting of the Big Five, as they say, is one of the most sought after game drives. If you are big into wildlife, animals are your thing, then I think traveling to a game park should be on your bucket list. All right, so we have this leg, there's a leg coming here. Okay. So that's pretty much like that. I think I'll just put a bit of brown here also on the giraffe with the same wash, yeah, some just the back and maybe on top of the head just to give that shade. Now we're seeing some dark portion. So when you go with your next level round of paint, no, you are not required because it's all about building layers when it comes to acrylic. You have some yellow on the face, so this will kind of give it an extra shade. Okay. So if you see, I'm not using thick paint. It's still very runny brown that we have here. Some on the leg also where we see some dark portions on the giraffe. I'm just giving it a wash of brown. See how we are building. So, when you finally you'll have all the colors available everywhere. Now we need to take the orange and come to the lower half. I think we need yellow and orange because it's a mix of paints dry out quickly anyway. Orange, some yellow also here. Maybe I'll take a bit of white in between too. Yeah, yellow, orange, and white. Going to paint one side with orange, one side with yellow, and let's go. Okay, like I said, we needed water. You're not. You have a mix of orange and yellow. You see, it gives you one side you put yellow, one side you put orange. Dip it in water, and let's go. Get nice different shades. You can go over the giraffe as well. Don't bother about getting on his leg and all that. It's okay. Still, some people might think, okay, well, what the heck is she painting? You can't have the sunset on the ground, right? No, you can't, but art is art. You can imagine anything and do stuff. a bit into the brown also to give it a nice transition. I have built more darker tones for the bottom. Still, the amount of paint I use is very less, okay? You don't need a lot of paint when you're doing the background. When you build the next layer, you will have more background. Always what you see in a photo may not be what you get realistically. So if you want to look at an output similar to what you see on the sample, it may not come because each paint is different. When you put it on, what do you call it? Like just covering the hills with a bit of orange. I'll do a bit of brown also. You see, these are all similar patterns, right? I'll take a bit of brown as well. Make sure you drag it into the lower paint so that it's not like stark and sticking out like a sore thumb. Because our canvas is wet, it is easy to move with the colors. I'm thinking I'll put more brown down because generally it's at the bottom half when things are a bit darker. These textures that you see is because this canvas pad that I use has a lot of grains in it. If you don't like this look, then please don't have to do it. You can still stick with your orange and yellow and so be it. Yeah. But as you get carried away trying to see, okay, how each thing will look, I think we'll put some shadow down for the it's a lot of it. First you have the giraffe. I'm assuming there's some shadow here. Mhm. Always cover it up with a lighter tone later. I think for now, this is your background. We are done with the background. How are you liking it? I'm loving it. I just love so we have these three colors which we used for the brown and the orange and all of this. Now once this is dry, we come back and start doing the giraffe. Let's now figure out how we will start painting the giraffe. Before that, I think I'll go and do the darkest browns behind. Okay, let's do take a smaller brush now, this area, right? So sometimes what I do is since I have some extra blue sitting, I might use the blue to darken my brown. So if you see here, one side is a bit light, so I might use a shade of brown and orange on this side of the water which has flown in. Just adding blue and brown. And to put some highlights there. Bit of orange into the brown. Just the brown at the bottom. And a bit of blue to make it dark, make it dull it a bit. To make it dull, you can add a bit blue to your brown and get a different color also. And you do the background and then come. So when you do the giraffe, no, it will really pop out. The darkest brown. Make sure you have enough water, but not so runny. Okay. As you build your confidence in handling acrylic paints, you should try going into YouTube and you might have little more advanced techniques available, and then you can think of investing some nice quality paints and brushes which will actually amp your creative outputs. So just putting some blue here. It will basically dull your brown, and then you mix it, no, you'll get a more different shade of your brown. It's very interesting how when you mix different colors, the shades vary, and you get nice cooler outputs. Just go carefully over the edge so that you don't lose the shape of the giraffe's underbelly. Here again, I'll bring some orange on the top along with the brown, because I'm trying to show it as, you have some sunshine hitting the and I will go down with your darker tones to build that layer. So I have my kits available at Market Street in Bahrain in El Mercado Mall. That's where I have a small kiosk as of now, which is 2026 June. I hope to have some online um workshops uploaded. So if you have your kit, you can just do it on your own. You don't have to buy the kit. You can do it from anywhere in the world. That's the beauty of online learning. So I think I have some browns. And now for the base, I think I'll add a little more orange because now we don't want too much harsh differentiation. So brown and orange together, little by little, we can cover the bottom half of this segment. Okay, so we don't want any harsh lines. To finish the background, and then we can let it dry for a bit before we come back and start the giraffe. So after this, I think you guys should take a 10-minute break so that the background dries out nicely and we can then come back and start working on the giraffe. So you have a gradient of browns. Don't forget the space between the giraffe's two legs. Yeah, you have it in different spaces. You should check that up. Alrighty, I think we have the background all ready. Now we'll just wait for it to dry and then we come back and do the giraffe and then we'll do the bush and the final lines, which is all these impressions of grass, dried grass, and all those things. How are you liking how your painting is coming out now? I'm enjoying it. Use our paints and let it dry. If you have a hair dryer, you can just use that also to speed up the process. Okay, now that the background is all dried up, we will start painting in the giraffe. Okay, so we'll use a mix of, if you can see here, we have orange, we have some orange shade, yellow, brown, and lighter yellow. So it's a mix of brown, orange, and yellow. Okay, same as your background. It's a very cohesive kind of a picture, not too much of harsh contrast other than the sky. Okay, so let's get started. We'll start with the head. We'll do the orange and the yellow. And once it's dry, then we will use the browns to block in these shapes. കുഴപ്പമില്ല, ഇനിയൊരു സ്കാൻ ചെയ്യണം. അതിന് അവര് വെളിയിൽ കൊണ്ട് ലിവറിന്റെ എത്ര ഇതായിട്ടുണ്ടെന്ന് അറിയാന്. അതിന്റെ ഇതായിരിക്കും ഈ ഇതെല്ലാം കൂടെ അമോണിയ ഒക്കെ കൂടിയിരിക്കല്ലേ. ഉം. അപ്പം അവര് പറഞ്ഞു അതെ അതെ, ചോരയിൽ അമോണിയ വരുന്നത് നമുക്ക് പ്യൂരിഫൈ ചെയ്യുന്നില്ല. ഒന്നും ചെയ്യാം. ലിവറിന്റെ പ്രശ്ന ബ്രെയിനിനെയും കാട്ടി കൂടുതലും. അപ്പൊ അതെല്ലാം ദേഹത്ത് മാലിന്യം കുടിക്കുന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ പോകത്തില്ല, ഇരിക്കത്തില്ല. ഭയങ്കര പ്രയാസം. ഡയപ്പർ ഇടുവോ അതില്ല. വെള്ളം കുടിക്കാതെ ദേഹത്ത് തന്നെ ഇത്. ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞു ചേച്ചിയെടുത്ത് അവിടെ ഒന്ന് കാര്യത്തി ചേച്ചി ഡ്രിപ്പ് ഇടുന്ന എന്തെങ്കിലും വീട്ടിൽ വന്ന് ചെയ്യണമെങ്കിൽ ചെയ്യട്ടെ, രാവിലെ ചോദിക്കാം. പിന്നെ അതൊക്കെ ഇപ്പം ആൾക്ക് ബോധമൊക്കെ ഉണ്ടല്ലോ. ഇറ്റ്സ് നോട്ട് ലൈക്ക് കിടപ്പോ അങ്ങനെയൊക്കെ ആണെങ്കിൽ പിന്നെയും പലതും. അങ്ങനെ ചെയർ പോലെ ഇങ്ങനെ എടുത്തിട്ട് അതില് ഞാൻ ചോദിച്ചു, അതൊക്കെ പറയാനില്ല, കുഴപ്പമില്ല. കുഴപ്പമില്ലാത്തിന്റെ അല്ല, അപ്പൊ ഇത് ചില കാര്യം മോനെ അമ്മ അനിയത്തിയമ്മച്ചെ കാണാൻ പോവാണെങ്കിൽ ഒന്ന് പോയി. ആ അവിടെ എന്താ അമ്മ ചോദിച്ചു, ഞാൻ അമ്മ വരണോ ചോദിച്ചപ്പോ ഇല്ല ഇല്ല, ഇവിടെ ഞങ്ങളെല്ലാം നോക്കുന്നുണ്ട്, കുഴപ്പമൊന്നുമില്ല, ശോഭാന്റി വിഷമിക്കണ്ട എന്നൊക്കെ പറഞ്ഞു. അല്ല, അമ്മ ചേച്ചിയുടെ അടുത്തൊന്ന് വരണോന്ന് ചോദിച്ചേ, എന്തെങ്കിലും ഹെൽപ്പോ എന്തെങ്കിലും ഒന്നൊരു. ഇല്ല ശോഭാന്റി കുഴപ്പമില്ല എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു. മിനി ചേച്ചിക്കും വന്ന് നിൽക്കാനൊക്കത്തില്ല. ആ അവളുടെ PhD അല്ല, അതിന്റെ തീസീസ് എന്തോ തീർന്നു കാണത്തില്ല. അല്ല, തീർന്നില്ലെന്ന് തോന്നുന്നു. അത് ഈ പറഞ്ഞ പോലെ അവന്റെ സാറ് ഇതൊക്കെ ചെയ്യണ്ടേ. രണ്ടുപേരും ഈ വട്ട് കളിപ്പിക്കും. എസ്പെഷ്യലി ക്രിസ്ത്യൻ ആണ്, സൗത്ത് ഇന്ത്യൻ ആണ്. ചുമ്മാ എന്തെങ്കിലുമൊക്കെ പറഞ്ഞ് കല്യാണമൊന്നും ആവില്ലേ. കല്യാണമൊന്നും ആവില്ല. കല്യാണം ആവാനിട്ട് അവളും ഇതാവണ്ടേ. ഉദ്ദേശിക്കുന്ന സ്പീഡിലൊന്നും ആളെ കിട്ടത്തില്ല. നമുക്ക് വേണ്ടതും മോന്റെ ഹോസ്പിറ്റൽ സൗത്ത് ഡൽഹി ആണോ എവിടെയാ? എവിടെയായിട്ട് വരും? ഹരിയാന ബോർഡർ. ഓക്കെ, ഡൽഹിയിലല്ല. ലൈക്ക് പ്രോപ്പർ ഡൽഹി ഡൽഹി അല്ല. ഹരിയാന ബോർഡർ. ഞാൻ ചോദിച്ചത് അവിടെ ഒരു വലിയൊരു തീപിടുത്തൊക്കെ നടന്നില്ലേ ഒരു ഹോട്ടലില്. ഏതോ ഹോസ്പിറ്റലിന്റെ സൈഡിലുള്ള ഹോട്ടലാ. ഒരു വീട്ടിലൊക്കെ വന്നിട്ട് അത് കേട്ടില്ലേ, അടിയില് റെന്റ് കുറവാണെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞത് അങ്ങനെയുള്ള റൂം എടുക്കുമായിരുന്നു ആൾക്കാര്. മരിച്ച ഒരു കുടുംബം 8 CA, ഒരു CA-കാരന് അവിടെ ഫുൾ കുടുംബമാ. അപ്പൻ അവിടെ അടുത്തുള്ള ഹോസ്പിറ്റൽ മാക്സ് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ ഹോസ്പിറ്റലില് ട്രീറ്റ്മെന്റ് കിടക്കുവാ. ഇവര് കുടുംബക്കാരെല്ലാം കൂടെ ഇവിടെ അടുത്താന്നുള്ള ഇതില്. മലയാളിയോ? ഇല്ല, നോർത്ത് ഇന്ത്യൻ. നാട്ടിൽ പോയോ? ആ പോയി, തിരിച്ചു പോയി. നാട്ടിൽ വന്നിട്ട് തിരിച്ചു പോയോ? അമ്മയുടെ ഇത് നോക്കാനായിട്ട് 3 ആഴ്ച ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. ആ ഇപ്പൊ തെച്ച ആശുപത്രി ഇന്ന് സർജറി ഒക്കെ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. അതുകൊണ്ടൊരു സമാധാനം. ഉം. ഉം. അപ്പച്ചനും ചെയ്യായിരുന്നല്ലോ. 80-ാമത്തെ വയസ്സിൽ അപ്പച്ചനും സർജറി ആയിരുന്നു. ഇപ്പം നന്ദന്റെ ഹീരയുടെ അപ്പന്റെ കാര്യം പുള്ളി പറഞ്ഞത് ഇവര് ചുമ്മാ കാശ് എടുക്കാൻ വേണ്ടി അങ്ങനെ അവിടെ ഇങ്ങനെ കിടത്തിയേക്കുവാന്നാ. ജി ജി ഹോസ്പിറ്റൽ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞിട്ട് ബേസിക്കലി ഇവര് പറയുന്ന ഇച്ചിരി മുറിച്ചു കളയും, ചോര വരുന്ന സ്ഥലം എത്തും പറയും. അപ്പം പുള്ളി പറഞ്ഞ അങ്ങനെയല്ല, കുറച്ച് മുകളിൽ അത് കട്ട് ചെയ്യണം. പാദം കഴിഞ്ഞ് കഴിയുമ്പോ പിന്നെ മുട്ടിന്റെ താഴെ അവിടെ നിന്ന് കട്ട്, അല്ലാതെ ഇച്ചിരി അത് ചുമ്മാ അവിടെ കടത്തിയിട്ട് ഇങ്ങനെ നമ്മൾ ഇച്ചിരി തുമ്പ് കെട്ടിക്കുമ്പോ പിന്നെ ഇൻഫെക്ഷൻ വരും. ആ ഇപ്പം ഞാൻ ഇങ്ങനെ പറയാൻ ഇപ്പം ഹീരയൊക്കെ നമുക്ക് കൂടുതൽ ഓർത്തോ സർജനാ അത് തന്നെ. പുള്ളി ഇപ്പം ആദ്യം വിരല് കട്ട് ചെയ്യും, അത് കഴിഞ്ഞ പാദത്തിന്റെ ആ വിരലിന്റെ മൊത്തം അങ്ങ് കട്ട് ചെയ്യും. അത് കഴിഞ്ഞ് പിന്നെ അവര് കട്ട് ചെയ്യുന്നത് ഈ മേളോട്ട് കയറ്റി കട്ട് ചെയ്യും. ഇപ്പൊ അത്രയും മുകളിൽ കട്ട് ചെയ്യുന്നുമില്ല, ഇച്ചിരി ഇച്ചിരിയായിട്ട് ചുരണ്ടി ചുരണ്ടി ചുരണ്ടി. അത് പിന്നെ ഇൻഫെക്ഷൻ കൂടത്തില്ല. പുള്ളിക്ക് 89 വയസ്സായി. ഈ പ്രായത്തിൽ ഇതൊക്കെ ചെയ്യാൻ എന്തൊരു കഷ്ടമാണ്. ഓൾഡ് ഏജ് ഇസ് വെരി സ്കേറി ജിമോൾ. എന്നാ ഷുഗർ എന്ന് പറയുന്ന സൈലന്റ് കില്ലർ എന്നല്ലേ പറയുന്നത്? എന്ത് എന്നുവെച്ചാ പലർക്കും ഓരോന്നും പറ്റിയത് കാണുമ്പം വരാനും പറ്റുന്നില്ലല്ലേ. അതെ അതെ. അല്ല, ഹീര ഉള്ളോണ്ട് അങ്കിൾ അത്രയെങ്കിലും മോട്ടിവേറ്റഡ് ആയിട്ടിരിക്കുന്നു. മറ്റേത് മോനുണ്ടെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാലും അവർക്കും വന്ന് നിന്ന് നോക്കുന്നൊക്കെ ഒരു ഇത്ര എളുപ്പമല്ലല്ലോ. ഈ പറയുമ്പം ആരാത് വേറെ വേറെ ഇതുപോലെ വയ്യാതെ ആരോ നടക്കുന്ന. ബാപ്പിനെ പോയപ്പോഴും ബാപ്പിനെ ഒക്കെ ബ്രദർ അവിടെ ഉണ്ടെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാലും അവര് മുകളിലാ. ഇപ്പം ബാപ്പിന് അവിടെ ഉള്ളപ്പോ അങ്കിളുടെ കൂടെ കിടന്ന് താഴെ മെത്തയിട്ട് കിടന്ന് അങ്കിളുടെ കൂടെ ആശുപത്രിയിൽ പോയ 2-3 ദിവസം. മനസ്സിലായില്ലേ? കൂടെ ഒറ്റയ്ക്കാന്നൊരു ഫീലിംഗ് വരുമ്പോഴാണ് അവർക്ക്. ഇപ്പൊ നന്ദനാണെങ്കിൽ എന്തിട്ട് ഓൾമോസ്റ്റ് ഡിപ്രഷനിലായിരിക്കുന്നു ഇവിടെ. മനസ്സിലായില്ലേ? ഇന്നലെ അവിടെ പൊട്ടിത്തെറി വന്ന പൊട്ടിയില്ലേ, അപ്പൊ ഉടനെ ചാടി ഹീര ഹീര എന്ന് വിളിച്ചാ ഞാൻ എഴുന്നേറ്റത്. ഏഹ് അപ്പൊ നന്ദനൊക്കെയാണ് വെരി മച്ച് എന്ന് പറയുന്ന ആ, ഭാര്യയുടെ ഇതും ഒക്കെ ഇഷ്ടപ്പെടുന്ന കൂട്ടത്തില് ശുശ്രൂഷണൊക്കെ ഇഷ്ടപ്പെടുന്ന ആളാ. ഉം അങ്ങനെയൊക്കെ ഉള്ളവർക്ക് ആ മറ്റേതെല്ലാം ഹീരയല്ല ചെയ്യുന്നത്. നന്ദേട്ടൻ നന്ദേട്ടൻ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ് ഇപ്പൊ അവർക്കൊരു ഒരു ഒരു മെയ്ഡ് വന്ന് കുക്ക് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട് കേട്ടോ. അപ്പം എന്തുവായിരുന്നു പറഞ്ഞ് നന്ദൻ എന്തോന്നോ പറഞ്ഞത് അവര് മനസ്സിലാക്കിയത് വേറെ എന്തോന്നോ. അപ്പം ചപ്പാത്തിയുടെ കൂടെ എന്തോന്നോ പറഞ്ഞ് കറി പറഞ്ഞതാ. അവര് കടീന്നാ കേട്ടത്. അവര് കടീന്ന് പറഞ്ഞൊരു കറി ഉണ്ടാക്കി വെച്ചു. നന്ദൻ വന്നിട്ട് കറി നോക്കിയിട്ട് കാണുന്നില്ല. പിന്നെ ഫ്രിഡ്ജിലുണ്ട്. ഈ സാധനം മോര് കറിയല്ലേ ഇതൊന്നും. അയ്യോ. ആ കടി. നന്നായി. അപ്പം കാർത്തിക് നല്ല ടേസ്റ്റിയാ അങ്ങനെ ഇങ്ങനെ നന്ന വന്നു. പിന്നെ ചുമ്മാ മോര് കൂട്ടാൻ എടുത്തിട്ട് കടി കടി എന്നങ്ങ് പറഞ്ഞു. ആ. ആ, കടി പക്കോട. 1 ദിവസം 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 1 ആ അത് തന്നെ. അത് കേട്ടിട്ടേ വൃത്തിയായിട്ട് ഒരു കറിയായിട്ട് തോന്നി. അത് കടലമാവ് തൈരിൻ്റെ അകത്ത് കുറുക്കി വാ. ഉം. ഉം. നമ്മുടെ ഈ തൈര് വട പോലെ. ഉം. ഉം. എന്താണെങ്കിലും കേട്ടിട്ട് ഒരു ഒരു സുഖം തോന്നിയില്ല. ഉം. യാ. ഈ മോളൊന്ന് ശബ്ദം കേട്ടായിരുന്നോ രാവിലെ? രാവിലെ ശബ്ദം കേട്ടായിരുന്നോ? നന്നായിട്ട് കേട്ടോ? ചെറുതായിട്ടല്ലേ ഉള്ളൂ. ചെറുതായിട്ടല്ലേ ഉള്ളൂ. ആ. ആ ഇല്ലായിരുന്നു. എന്നുവെച്ചാ കാർത്തിയും വനിതയും ഒന്നും അറിഞ്ഞില്ല. നമ്മൾ ഈ എഴുന്നേക്കുന്ന സമയമായോണ്ട് പക്ഷെ എല്ലാം കടല്ല, ഒന്നുകൂടെ അടുത്തല്ല. ഉം. ആ നമ്മുടെ കടലിന്റെ മുകളിൽ കൂടെ എങ്ങാണ്ട് അത് പൊട്ടിയത്. അതില്ലയോ? അവിടെ ഒന്നും അല്ല, അത് കടലിന്റെ മുകളിൽ കൂടെ പൊട്ടി. അപ്പൊ എന്റെ അടുത്ത് കടലുള്ളതുകൊണ്ട് ഇപ്പൊ വീണയ്ക്കൊക്കെ നന്നായിട്ട് കേട്ടായിരുന്നു. ഉം. അങ്ങ് കാഴ്ച കാണുന്ന പോലെയാ. ഡിപ്റ്റോ ഇല്ലായിരുന്നല്ലോ കഴിഞ്ഞ പ്രാവശ്യം ഇതൊക്കെ സംഭവിച്ചപ്പോ. ആരെ കല്യാണം കഴിച്ചു? ആര് കല്യാണം കഴിക്കാൻ? ആര് കല്യാണം കഴിക്കാൻ? സ്പോൺസറിനെയാ? ചുമ്മാ വീട്ടിൽ വൃത്തിയായിട്ട പണി. അതെ അതെ. കഷ്ടം ഓരോരുത്തരുടെയൊക്കെ. പക്ഷെ അവന്റെ ഫ്യൂച്ചർ അങ്ങനെയല്ലേ. ഇവന്റെ കൊച്ചാന്ന് അയാള് അംഗീകരിക്കാൻ ഞങ്ങൾക്കല്ലേ പിന്നെ പണി. ഓഹോ. ആഹാ. ഭയങ്കര കഥകള് തന്നെ. ആ ആ മതി മതി. So now that we have the background set, we will progress to do the blocking of the patches on the giraffe with brown and darker shade of brown, which is brown with a little bit of black. Okay, let's do that. Take the picture. Just brown, and we'll start putting the shapes. I use the smaller brush for this. The detail brush. If you feel that it's difficult, you can use a marker pen also to make the patches and then fill it up with add water to make it a little more filling. I think what we need to do is we'll have to draw a line. Okay. Give some symmetry. Okay. If we don't like the shape, we can adjust it later. So towards the leg, you can make sure your designs are smaller because they won't be big and blotchy. I would like how you find on top of the giraffe. Just so now we come to the smaller giraffe. On the neck, we give some smaller designs. Just press and pull with your brush without too much pressure. I'm using a mix of more orange for the lighter portion. You don't want everywhere to be dark. So some portion you mix, give a mix of different brown and oranges to give a variety of shades. Let's flick through the places where we give very small impressions. So you can check few pictures of actual giraffe also to see what kind of patterns and designs you might see on their skin. Bring the darker ones to the top. Just doing some extra shading. And go with some extra dark areas here and there, just to give an extra depth to those. Not all of them, maybe just few pieces here and there. Okay, add an extra layer of color. And now we come to the face, where we need to carefully do the eyes and the lines. So do a small line, then yeah, we have that here as well. Trying to get that small shading of the cheekbone and the eyes. Okay, we will tone down the orange a bit on this. Okay. Some extra colors, some few shades here and there. Now we come and we'll start with the branches. This auto caption, you might see some weird phrases, but that's what the system is capturing automatically, I guess. So I'm coming with the brown. We'll first give these lines. This you can do in any fashion you want. We're talking about the African bush, so lightly minimal water. If you have any marker pens, you can use that also for drawing the branches. So we are going to do some thick main stems. This is random. I'm not going, I can do in any fashion I want. Just making sure there is no fixed pattern. That's why I didn't do many lines for the trees, because depending on what we feel, we can just give the last. I'll come with some black and give it that extra. You need a lot. In case you want to, you can add more. I think Less is more in this case. We might just get carried away. So in the picture, we do have some this side also. So I'll just go around here so that it's not bare. Thin brush, just flick lightly over the canvas. Okay, so let's get some black. I think my black is all dried up. Let me find some black. We don't use black much. I have my black here, a very little. So no matter how little you take, it just falls. Remove all excess water. Can do some black in the lower. Just flick it. Twirl your brush so slowly. You don't need to go over every branch. Here and there, it would be good enough. Okay. Just to accentuate, there's water in my brush, so it is. I think we need to give some extra highlights. Okay. On the ground as well, we can give some pulling some darkest darks on one side. Okay, not everywhere, just here and there. We'll just pull in some of the darkest values just to create a layer actually. This extra dark value here. Not necessary actually. If you don't want to, you can just not do it as well. There are some random strokes here. This is just like a design. Just think I'll just put more dark brown and orange instead of just black. It's mixture of brown, orange, and black for now. Let's do some random designs that we see here. Make sure there's minimal water. Just abstract kind of a pattern. that we are using here, just to very lightly I'm moving with my brush without too much pressure. So this just takes out the plain look. So if you see here, if you don't like this kind of design on your painting, you can just leave it as is, and you have done finishing your these are all just impressions of the bush, I would say. Some random yeah, just to avoid the plain look, we are doing this random pattern, more like depicting the bush, I would say. Now let's go and do a little bit of the eyes, just pushing the darkest, softening it a bit. Okay, and maybe even give your patches a random, maybe just for the mature giraffe, not the young one. Still have a lot of paint on my palette, seeing if I want to add more. I have one more painting in this series in art kit. That's for two elephants, a mom and a calf. If you like this one, I would suggest you to try that as well. And it'll be like a series for you to have together. Then you can just pull in some outlines on the leg as well, just to define. If you're not sure about, you know, drawing with a brush, you can use a brush pen or a marker to outline your legs of the giraffe. Just giving intermittent lines, not like continuous. Top of the I don't know if they call it horn or what is this for the giraffe. Oh, there you go. I think we are done with our safari serenade. And keep going at it. Keep adding till I finish my blacks, but I think I'm okay. We'd had some lines here also. If you want to just do it, you can. But I think we are okay with this. I think this is good. Not bad, I would say. I hope. Don't forget to sign off at the end of it. I'll just put my initials for now. Using white because it is easy to see. And there you go. We are done with our painting. Thank you so much for joining Artsy Space for this beautiful African DIY art kit. And I hope you enjoyed. Please share, tag us, and I'll be happy to see your outputs.